Welcome to Everything Python. So this first video is going to be about installation of pandas profiling in a virtual environment. Why did I choose this to be the first video that I'm making? Um, no real reason except that I've seen a lot of GitHub issues being created of late about faulty installations of pandas profiling from people facing difficulties in starting off. Right now, the usage of pandas profiling is a beautiful thing. It helps you understand your data frames and summarize them in a very nice way. And pandas profiling is also coming up with a way to profile Spark data frames soon. They are working on it. But the fact that many people don't use virtual environments to do all of these experiments in was something that troubled me a lot, right? Because you can do things so easily with a virtual environment, and you won't face any of those installation issues as well. So that's why I thought I would create a small guide to do it. And that is the agenda of this short video. That's pandas profiling setup. So what am I going to cover here? Installing Anaconda. We're going to be using Anaconda for all our virtual environment management right now. You could choose to use virtual env or venv, or pip env. There's so many different virtual environment managers and package managers out there, but here we'll be using the combination of Anaconda, Conda to install packages, and pip that will be installed within the virtual environment. So installing Anaconda, creating a virtual environment, installing pip, installing Jupyterlab, installing pandas profiling, and verifying the installation of pandas profiling. Hope you find this video useful. Now we'll install Anaconda 3. I've already downloaded it from the official website, and the version I've downloaded is 2021.05, but it doesn't matter. You can download the latest version of what is compatible on your Win64 machine. Now I'll install it. We pretty much have to follow exactly the steps that come up on the splash screen. There is no real difference. You can install it just for yourself, and you can change the folder to whatever folder you want to install it on. I typically put everything on my D drive because I have a lot of space there. Do I want to add Anaconda 3 to my path environment variable? Yes, I do. This is not recommended, but it's fine. I mean, because when you use the command Conda, it is required that Anaconda be on your path variable, so it's fine. Register Anaconda 3 as my default Python 3.8. Yes, that's also fine. Now this gets installed. After this, you should be able to see an Anaconda prompt application. So this took a bit longer than expected, but it's done. Installation complete. Next. And this is all right. We don't need all this. That's how you install Anaconda. Now if you see, you should be able to see the Anaconda navigator here and the Anaconda prompt, which we'll be using right now just to see a couple of commands. So if you do Conda and help, you should be able to see the entire help section here. And next we'll also look at how many environments we have currently. It should be just the base environment. So what does an environment mean? It means a playground or a place where you can execute Python commands that you want to with certain packages that you have installed just for that environment. It's a sandboxed playground where you can install packages and you don't have to worry about the entire, the entire global environment. So right now you have only one environment. That means whatever packages are there in this environment will not be there in any other environment that you create. I do Conda list. It should show me all the packages that are there in this current environment. So as you can see, the Conda list command gave me all the packages that are installed in this base environment. But as I said before, all these packages will not be there in a new environment that you create. Now, if you want to know what all possible commands there are in the Conda world, The website, the official website with the documentation is of great help, right? It's helped me a lot, and I constantly keep coming back to this website and checking out the commands. Now that's what we're going to do. We're going to create an environment using this particular command, conda create name. But we are not going to use my env for the name. I'm going to use something relevant, some purpose that I'm going to create an environment for. So I'll call it pandas_prof. Make sure not to use the name of any particular package, but you can get creative with the name that you use for an environment. Here it's going to be pandas_prof. Now it's going to ask me if I want to install it, and I'll say yes. Normally there's going to be a bunch of packages that will be listed in case you have set up Conda that way, but here it's telling me that I don't have any packages to set up, but it'll just ask me, do I want to proceed? I'll say yes. In this bare bones package, in this bare bones environment, first let me activate it. Conda activate pandas_prof. If you look at what is there in this environment, there's pretty much no package, but we need pip at least for installing packages inside this environment. So I'm going to use Conda and install pip. Pip is the official package manager for Python. I won't say official, I'll call it stock. It's going to take a couple of seconds to install all of this. Now because I haven't specified which Python version this environment should be created with, it's going to pick up the latest Python version that I have, which is Python 3.9.7. And it's completing the execution. And it's done. Now if you look at what is there, in the environment, there's a couple more packages than there were before. Now I'll install pandas-profiling. Installing pandas-profiling after you have done these particular steps is not very difficult. You can look at the official GitHub repository, pandas-profiling /pandas-profiling, and the setup process is very simple, right? You can, because we are using Conda right now, we can use this particular command, conda install -c conda forge pandas-profiling. Alternatively, you can also use pip, but for now we're going to use Conda. So now let me tell you what the different parts of this command are. First is Conda, the application that we're using to install packages. -c is a command flag used to specify the channel from where the package will be downloaded. So here the channel is Conda Forge and the package itself is pandas-profiling. We are not specifying the name of the environment where you want to install this package in because we have already activated it. Now it says collecting package metadata, and it's effectively trying to find the package and then it will continue to install it. Based on your internet speed and your system speed, this can take a couple of seconds more here and there, but here it's telling me the following packages will be downloaded. Alright, so all of these packages are required for pandas-profiling to work. So make sure that you make a note of all of this, right? When you say make a note, make a visual note of it and look at what all different packages pandas-profiling depends on. Then you have to say yes, and it will start downloading the packages and installing them in your environment, in the current environment. So now you see there are so many packages, right? You don't want all the packages all the time for all your purposes, right? So that's why it makes sense to create a virtual environment first. Otherwise you're just clogging up different packages in the base environment and it's going to be a lot of unnecessary noise. And it's even possible that some of these packages will interfere with some other packages for some other library that you want to install in the future. So it always makes sense to create a new virtual environment for the experiments that you want to do with a new package. unless you know that the new package is compatible with the existing setup that you have. So now let's wait for all of these packages to get installed. Now you've installed pandas profiling in your Anaconda environment. Now to check whether the pandas profiling has been installed correctly, you can do a couple of things. You can either try to import the pandas profile library within your Python environment, like I have done here, and tried a bunch of things. Or alternatively, you can also do it using Jupyter-lab. That's what the official documentation recommends. We recommend generating reports interactively using the Jupyter notebook. So how do you install a Jupyter notebook, right? So you can check out the official documentation for Jupyter notebooks. I'll also put down the links in the description. And you can use pip to install Jupyter-lab because you have already installed pip in an earlier step, right? So you can use pip to install Jupyter-lab in your Conda environment. This is going to take a couple of seconds. Now Jupyter-lab is installed. You can launch it using this. If you launch Jupyter-lab here, then all the notebooks that you create will be in the current path that you have launched Jupyter-lab from. So make sure that you're doing it from a directory where you don't mind creating a Jupyter notebook. So maybe I'll make a directory over here. And then I'll launch Jupyter-lab. It'll open up the instance in a browser, or it'll also give you a link where you can open it in a browser. Now notebook has been opened. Now we can follow all the remaining steps for pandas profiling usage. I've got a new notebook here. First I'll import numpy as np, import pandas as pd, and then import pandas profiling. Now I'll pick up this particular command to create a data frame. Check that the data frame has been created correctly. Now we'll create a report, pandas profiling report using pandas profiling. We're using the profile report function of pandas profiling, but we haven't imported this yet. So this is going to throw me an error. Right? So we'll do the exact same step that is there in the documentation. But the fact that you can import pandas profiling here without an error is an indication that pandas profiling was installed correctly. Now we'll repeat this step. And when you use profile again, now there's a problem. No module named ipywidgets. So what do we do for this? We need to install the ipywidgets library, right? So you can install it from within this notebook, or you can get out of this, close the notebook, and pip install ipywidgets. Now relaunch the notebook. And repeat the steps. Ideally, you would have saved the notebook from earlier, so you wouldn't have to repeat everything. Just gonna save this notebook. Create a data frame. Check that the data frame is fine. Then repeat this report generation. This time it should be fine. As you can see, it's doing a bunch of steps. And the report has been generated. So in this particular data set, I have 5 variables. Number of observations are 100. There are no missing cells. And it's giving me a whole bunch of reports. Correlations, interactions, missing values, and a sample data set. So that's what this video is all about. Using pandas profiling and how you can initially create a virtual environment using Conda, install pandas profiling in it and load it, and then check out basic example from the documentation. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe. This is the first of hopefully many more videos to come on how to use different packages and libraries and everything that I find interesting in Python. Essentially everything Python. Thank you. Have a nice day.